Okay, so for my opinion segment this week, I decided to talk about the SmackDown women's roster because the SmackDown women's division is in desperate call for reinforcement. So when you compare the women's roster from Raw and SmackDown, you can clearly see the disparity, not necessarily talent wise, but more with main event players and former world champion that can still be considered world championship worthy. So let's start by comparing both rosters. So let's start with Raw. So the Raw women's roster, the main event players, you see there's Stephanie Vaquer, that's presently the world champion. You got Io Sky, which is the two-time world champion already. You have Rhea Ripley that's won the title maybe 3, 4, 5 times already. I haven't kept count, but you know what I mean. Rhea Ripley is one of the best right now in WWE. You got Bailey that right now could be a mid carder, but she's has numerous world championship right now. Of course, there's Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch which is the Intercontinental Championship right now. But I talked about her a couple of weeks ago, and her title defense are main event worthy right now. There's Naomi that was a champion before going on a pregnancy leave. You got Asuka that is a 5-time women champion already, longest reigning in one title run, longest reigning NXT champion. You got Liv Morgan that's injured right now, and I can even add AJ Lee to the mix. Although AJ Lee would be more a mid carder right now than a main event player, but she's a former champion as well. Now the mid card picture, you got Lyra Valkyria. Lyra Valkyria is going to be a main event player in a couple of years from now. Probably a world champion by herself, and she's very, very, very talented. You got Roxanne Perez, another future world champion. You got Raquel Rodriguez. You got Kairi Sane. You got Nikki Bella, that's a former champion. I put her in the mid card, but she's a former world champion, and she can still go in the ring, even though I said a couple of weeks ago that I don't know what she's doing there because her role right now would be to put people over, and that's what she's going to do with Stephanie Vaquer now that she turned on her. And of course, you got Zoe Stark that's injured right now, but she's very, very, very talented. And the low card, you only have a couple of people there. You got Ivy Nile, you got Maxine Dupree, even though she's looking a lot better now and going for the Intercontinental title against Becky Lynch in 2 days on Monday. And you got a former world champion in Natalia in the low card as well. So as you can see, the Raw roster is really stacked. Just like I said in my opinion segment last week, talking about the women's roster. Was that 2 weeks ago? Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. So you see how it is stacked already. Now let's talk about the SmackDown roster, SmackDown women's roster. In the main event, you see less names in the main event caliber match, main event caliber wrestlers. You got Jade Cargill's that right now the world champion, and if she was not the champion, I would not even put her in that category. Not that I hate Jade, it's not that at all. Jade is a wrestler, but I don't think she was ready for a world title yet. You got Charlotte Flair. Now that her and Alexa Bliss lost the tag team championship, she can go back in the main event picture. You got Bianca Belair, who's currently injured. Now, she's got a broken finger. I find that her broken finger takes a freaking long time to heal. There's probably something else in there related to that. Was she pregnant or something? I don't know. But we haven't seen her since WrestleMania. You got Nia Jax. Nia Jax is not a very good wrestler. She's big, and she belongs in the main event. But I would use Nia Jax more like a monster to be an obstacle to reach the main event level for mid card people. And of course, you got a former champion, Tiffany Stratton, who's really a main event player as well. But the main event picture on SmackDown resumes to 5 people right now. Now, in the mid card, you got Julia. Now, Julia just lost her U.S. championship last Friday to Chelsea Green, and Julia could be moving to the main event picture. So that would add at least one person there in the main event picture. You got Chelsea Green, which I just talked about, that won the U.S. championship. I put Alexa Bliss, even though she's a former champion, I put Alexa Bliss in the mid card right now. Maybe she could challenge Chelsea for the title, for the U.S. title. You got Michin, you got Zelina Vega, but Zelina is going to be used less and less as a wrestler and more as a manager for her husband, Aleister Black. You got Alba Fire, which has more a secondary role right now in the Secret Service. You got Lash Legends that just got there. Is she going to be added to the main event picture with Nia Jax as a tag team? Could be. I put her in the mid card level right now because I don't think she's ready to be a main event player right now. And of course, you got Piper Niven, who is injured, who has a severe neck injury and maybe a career-threatening injury, and she's in the mid card. In the lower card on SmackDown, we got Nikki Cross, who never wrestles. She's personifying Sister Abigail in the Wyatt Six, but you never see her. You got B-Fab. B-Fab is going to face Jade Cargill on the next Friday, and it's going to be not next Friday, but she faced Jade Cargill last night. At the time of this recording, the match didn't happen yet, but I expect that's going to be a squash match in under 2 or 3 minutes, and it's going to be over. You got Candice LeRae and you got Kiana James in the low card. Now, I'm saying that the SmackDown roster needs help. So, what could be the help that the SmackDown women's roster could get? Possible additional call-ups from NXT. Of course, there's Jordynne Grace. Jordynne Grace, which is a former multi-time TNA champion, Knockouts champion, and she could be added to the main event picture right on arrival at SmackDown. There's Kalani Jordan. When she loses her TNA Knockouts championship, because her heel run right now as a TNA Knockouts champion, I think it's the last thing that Kalani has to learn being a heel before getting called up. So when she loses the title, she might get called up on the main roster. There's Sol Ruka. Sol Ruka improved leaps and bounds since she started a couple of years ago. And her Soul Snatcher finisher is, I think, the best finisher in the business right now. And she can be added to the U.S. title picture in the mid card or in the tag team division with Zarya. Of course, Zarya, same thing. She can be added to the U.S. title picture or as a tag team with Sol Ruka. Those two, now that is if Zarya doesn't turn on Sol Ruka next Tuesday in New York. But they could be added as a tag team on SmackDown. There's Blake Monroe. She could be a main event player right now on SmackDown. But I don't think that they want to rush Blake Monroe like they did with Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. Stephanie Vaquer is having a lot of success on Raw, and I'm happy for her. Julia, she's had success too. She won the U.S. Championship, but that reign was lackluster because I think they didn't know what to do with her during that title reign. So Blake Monroe, she's the North American champion right now in NXT, and I think she's going to keep that title for a while. And then they're probably going to give her a NXT championship run, women's championship run as well, before getting her on the main roster. Of course, there's JC Jane. JC Jane could be added in the mid-card picture. And there's Carmen Petrovic, who could be a part of Chelsea Green's Secret Service. But that would be a secondary role. There's a lot of rumors for Carmen Petrovic going up and to be a part of the Secret Service. But like I say, these could be great additions to the SmackDown roster. Of course, that would not add a lot of people to the main event scene. Like I said, Julia could be added, so that's a sixth wrestler there. And if they call it Jordan Grace, that could be a seventh main event player on SmackDown. So tell me what you think in the comments. Who would you add to the SmackDown roster so that you can have more people maybe vying for the WWE Women's Championship?